Welcome back to Dear Dog Fanatic. I'm your host, Kirsten, but you can call me Kay. I am a virtual dog trainer and dog mom of three, and today we have a special guest. Donna, could you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. I'm Donna Knutson, and I am a longtime dog lover. Currently, right now, run my own business, and I help authors to write their books.
And just for my listeners out here, part of the reason why I wanted to talk to Donna today is I'm in the process of writing a few different books. And for anyone who's gone through the authorship process, it can be a little bit difficult figuring out, do I self publish? Do I go through a big publication house? For my fellow dog trainers, a lot of us will go through the likes of Dogwise, but what happens if you're not aiming a book at other dog trainers, or what if you're wanting to reach the general public? So I wanted to pick Donna's brain today a little bit around what that kind of authorship process looks like and how services like hers can help us.
So, if you are in love with your pet, which of course you are, and you want to preserve the kind of joy that they've brought you,
Mhm.
they teach us about ourselves, they teach us about the world. There are so many different ways to go about it. If you've never done it before, I would suggest journaling about it. At the end of the day, writing down little stories about your dog and what you've done together. That would be a great, calm, easy way to get started. Once you're at the level that you're at, Kirsten, if you were to meet with me, I like to talk to my authors about three really important things. The first thing
Share
I like to talk to them about is, what transformation do you want this book to have for someone? So
that.
we
Yeah.
know who we're talking about. We want to tell people who already have dogs how to change a habit. Do we want to tell people who already have dogs how to enrich their final years with us? What is the transformation that you're looking for with the book? That will help us target everything and keep it on track. The next thing I like to talk about and really deeply listen to the author about is, what is the mission you want that book to have for you? Are you looking to go around the country and do your podcast in different places and have people come and see you do things? Or are you looking to have more people come into your podcast after reading your book? Do you want them to share stories with you? What is your mission with
Mhm.
that? And we would really listen to you, because once you know what that is, then you can create what would call a vision for how you're going to make that book work for your mission. I don't like to talk about sales. I like to talk about, what's the transformation we're going to make with that book in the world.
No, I love that. And that's so related to how most dog trainers, or at least those of my persuasion, we approach things with a person-centric approach. We look at what is the transformation we're hoping to give the dog and the person with through our training programs, through working together. And that makes complete sense to me that writing a book from that perspective would be done the same way. Now, you yourself, do you work more so with self-published indie authors? Do you help people get into big publication houses? If you wouldn't mind just sharing more about how folks or maybe myself could work with you.
Great. Well, like, I have an author who came to me. This is just an example. She had promised herself she was going to write a book for her 50th birthday. Her thing is that she was a home organizer. She
Okay.
wanted to write a little bit of memoir, a little bit of home organizing. And we talked and we talked. Again, for me, that's the key, right? You've got to really find out what's at the bottom of it. The transformation that she really wanted to bring is that she was born in India. She grew up there. She immigrated to the United States. She learned that when you live a simple life, you have fewer things around you. It
Okay.
takes you less time to clean, straighten things up, because you don't have as much stuff. And the second part of it, if you don't buy the stuff, you have more money. So her transformation is, living with fewer things transforms your life. It gives you more time and more finances to spend time with your loved ones. So that was her transformation. That's where we started. And then what I do is I work with people to come up with a plan. Now that you have your chapters and we know what direction it's going in, then you got to write it. Instead of throwing them out there to write it on their own, I have a community of writers who work together. They can do writing rooms together. 10 different experts to come in and teach them about social media.
That's a big portion that I'm learning for myself. Obviously with my dog training practice, but also just if you're going to write a book or perhaps have a digital product or course or what have you, you are in charge of marketing. Writing the book's just step one.
But people are afraid to talk about it until it's done. People always say, I'll just do that later. And the thing is, by working together and having these different experts, because we have experts on contracts and funnels and publicists and marketing, so that you learn how do you want to publish it, which is kind of what you were talking about. So you'd work with our publishing expert, and that person would help you listen to what you wanted to do. Is it best for you to publish that book by yourself? Do you want a team? Do you want to go to a big publishing house? I do have a story that goes with that. I went to work with this cookbook author. And when we were done editing the book, I asked him, so what do you want to do? He said, well, I want a big publishing house. So I'm going to go get an agent. And you need an agent if you're going to get into a big publishing house. I said, okay, so your business is in, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, all over. And he said, no, my business is in Atlanta. And I said, okay, so
Oh,
your business is in Atlanta. You're looking to get into Chicago, Dallas, all these places. He said, no, my business, I run a catering business in Atlanta. So then I suggested, publishing wise for him, to spend the money on a publicist, to spend that money on marketing, to get somebody who knows Atlanta and to self-publish, but to instead to spend his money on being at every event. He's the go-to caterer. He's on every show. So when you ask me about publishing and what I don't stay in one lane. I try to provide the expertise and the information for whoever's writing so they can find what's right for them.
it's a client-centered approach.
Correct.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Reminded me a little bit before I started this podcast, I did a lot of research, and speaking to you, it reminds me that podcasting, I think, is a little bit writing a book in that why are you going about doing so? Who are you trying to reach? Who are you targeting? Part of my logic in creating this podcast is I work with dog clients virtually all over the world. So for me, it makes sense because wherever you live, I'm happy to work with you. I was just reminded of this when you were speaking about your client when it comes to publishing their book and reaching that out, because I think that makes great sense. If you are a local dog trainer, if you are a local author because you have a local business, your approach to probably even the creation of who you're speaking to, because then you're not speaking to everybody. You're actually speaking to a pretty niche market because you're speaking to the people who live in the place that he's operating his business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that you've honed in on, I am not the person you're going to go to once the book is done and you want it to come out in a hard copy. I am the person that you would go to when you have the idea, you want support through the writing, and you want really good advice on what avenue to take. And the great part about it is because people are working with my experts, they do all of these things. So you would have an opportunity to already get to know people you may also want to work with.
No, that makes complete sense. And a lot of it is we can't really do things in isolation. A lot of times we need to do things in community. And when we have big ambitious goals like writing a book, especially I imagine a lot of your clients being an author is probably one of many things that they're doing. So it's probably rather easy to let that slide. That's why a lot of people, even though we want to write books, we don't end up actually doing it because it is difficult to make that a priority. So I imagine that support is very helpful for the folks in your community.
Absolutely. And it is the same thing when you have someone who has their first dog. You have no idea what puppy life is going to be like.
Absolutely.
That is why many people later on are like, I want a new dog, but I don't want a puppy. They understand that there's a little bit of work to do at the beginning. I am a large dog lover, so I like them big. I always say the right size dog for me is the dog who could drag my unconscious body out of the street all by itself.
The Newfoundlanders, the Great Danes of the world, things like this.
I love a big dog. One of the dogs that you have many in your life. One of my special dogs was a Shepherd Lab Rottweiler mix, and smart, very much the kind of animal who couldn't read people. But what I know, because I like big dogs, is I need a well-trained dog, because when there's that much size, jumping up is an accident that could push someone over. So people were appreciative of the fact that my big dogs behave themselves, right?
And This is true, and I'll just touch on this point that you thankfully brought up. A lot of the clients I end up working with, it's not their first dog. Sometimes it is, especially those who maybe grew up with dogs growing up and now this is their first dog and they want to do things different than they did with their childhood dog. But for a lot of people, they've had dogs before. It's their second or third time around. And especially if it's a big dog, it's okay, well, maybe now nearing retirement and I can't let my Bernese mountain dog drag me down the stairs. So that makes complete sense to me. If you wouldn't mind letting folks know where they can find you, please share the name of your business, what kind of social media handles they can look up for you.
Excellent. Well, the thing I do is I want to offer all of your listeners, because they came today, I have a document at supportforwriters.com, because
Amazing.
what I provide is support for writers. If you go to supportforwriters.com, a lot of the mystery about the helpers who you need to assemble a team will be taken care of in the document that you'll get. It's free. Just put your email address in there and it'll go right out to you. And my company name is Right Journeys on Instagram, rightjourneys.com, Right Journeys on YouTube. You'll find me in all of those places.
You'll pop up. Amazing. And we will have the link to all that information in the show notes. Thank you so much, Donna, for coming on. And to my listeners, thank you for listening to this episode. We will see you in the next one.